Hello everyone, and I'm very excited. So today we're going to be talking about exercise and menopause. This is one of the questions that came up in our group that people were interested in. So rather than me talking about exercise and menopause, I thought I would get an expert in to come and talk about menopause and exercise, and that's Andrea Riggans. And I've known Andrea a long time. She is a fantastic fitness professional, personal trainer. So I am going to just hand over to Andrea so she can introduce herself and talk a little bit about why she's passionate about exercise and menopause, and then we'll get into some questions.
Cool. Hi. Well, I'm more than happy to do this and answer the questions that people are asking and just talk a little bit about kind of like menopause and what changes in exercise and kind of like how we have to need and maybe just adjust to how we do things rather than how we did things when we were in our 20s, for example. So I have been a fitness professional for 12 years now. And I've always done exercise. I've been exercising right from when I was a teenager, started off doing the aerobics to the TV and have always loved it. I love the way it makes me feel. And yeah, I'm very passionate about it. And I have now that I'm going through perimenopause myself, I have now changed my target market, I guess, more to helping women 40 plus going through these changes. That's the majority of the people that I train are all 40 plus. And so it's really cool to be able to help them. I get lots and lots of questions from my clients. And so earlier this year, I also did some study with Dr. Wendy Sweet and learning about weight loss and menopause. So we did touch a little bit on exercise as part of that, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about weight loss, but we're talking about the benefits of exercise and how important it is. So I'm navigating all the perimenopause stuff myself, and I've definitely had my lows, but I feel like I'm kind of coming back up on the high at the moment with your help, Sarah. And yeah, and so yeah, it is a rough time for some people, and I do understand. And I do understand all the, just from reading the questions in your group, the confusion around exercise, and it is a very grey area, especially for women our age. So happy to go through that and answer any questions that come up.
Right. Well, I have a question in regards to you. In how have you changed your exercise routine based on your experience of transitioning through menopause?
I definitely don't. I am not a very competitive person anyway, but I don't compete or compare myself to others. I understand my limits of my body. So I know that if I try and lift really heavy, I will get a sore back and I'll feel it immediately in my back. So I just know not to go there. I know what I can do. And as soon as I start feeling it on my back, I'm not going to push through it anymore to compete with Mary next door who can lift heavier than me. So the trick is, I think, is to not compare yourself, especially if you're doing a challenge within a gym environment. Like at the moment in the other studio where I take classes, they've got lots of exercise challenges at the moment. Like they've got some spring challenges, and it's really good. It's really motivating the woman, and they're like doing, there's a challenge for doing a personal best, seeing how heavy you can lift. It might be a cardio challenge, how far you can run and all that kind of stuff. But I know that my weight, I'm not comparing it to somebody else's weight. There may be women the same age as me who can lift way heavier than me, but the trick is, now that I know that I have to really listen to my own body and know what I can do. And that's what I encourage women to do, is to try not to, you can push yourself to try, you obviously want to kind of strive to do better if you can, but don't push yourself to the point where it's going to hurt. You're going to hurt your back. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to pee yourself because your pelvic floor is not like it used to be, because that all changes in menopause as well.
Yeah.
So, that can also happen as well with my clients. Some of them can't lift heavy or push heavy because they will wet their pants. So there's that as well. So that's what I said. It's like a very gray area. And I know what my limits are, and I'm not going to push myself above and beyond those limits just to try and keep up with the other people. So that's probably how I've changed things. And I just know that I can add in other things to make my workout a little bit harder if I need to, but I'm just not putting the pressure on myself anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that one of the questions that came up was about
the heavy weight.
Should we be lifting heavy, and how heavy should we be lifting? So you're saying that really it's dependent on you as an individual. There's no kind of this is how heavy you should be lifting.
No. So it is dependent on you as an individual. So I mean, if you're really strong and you can lift heavy and you don't have any injuries and it doesn't hurt your back and you don't keep getting injured, or you don't, your pelvic floor doesn't let go, and if you don't have any issues, then by all means, if you want to push yourself. So the idea, obviously what I get for my clients who can is to progressively overload. So say if you can do 12 reps of something really comfortably, maybe just give it a scale out of 1 to 10. So that's kind of what I do for especially new people, or even some people have been coming for a while. I'll say, so what would you give that from a scale of 1 to 10? So how heavy was that? How hard was that? On a scale of 1 to 10, is 1 being like really super easy and 10 being that was really hard and I couldn't do any more. You know that you're at your limit. And also ask yourself, how hard do I want to work today? How hard do I work? Am I feeling like I just want to work at like a 5, or do I want to be like, I want to work at like an 8, or I want to go 10 as hard as I can possibly go? And if you can do, say, 12 to 15 reps of something and it feels easy, then you need to put up your weight. So that's basically kind of like a general rule of thumb of how I work. If I'm watching someone do something and they're just doing it like really easy, really fast, they're not straining at all, I know that that weight is way too light and that we need to put it up. So, and it's just like I said before, just listening to your body and making sure that if you're doing it and it's, it's hurting you, or anything else is going on, then you need to kind of like stop there until you can build up a little bit more, or maybe you'll just stay there. It's really an individual thing. But if you're finding you can do, say you might do one weight exercise, you might be doing something and you might be able to do 12 to 15 reps easily, put the weight up a bit, and then see how many you can do then. And if that still feels too easy, put it up again. So when you get to the point, you will know when you're fatiguing and your form might start going, or something might start happening, and you know that you're at your limit, or you physically can't lift anymore, then you know that that will be your personal best, like your heaviest weight. And then you can just stay on that weight till maybe you can do a little bit more. Maybe you'll stay on that weight till you can get to like 12 reps. And then you'll know that you need to put it up again once you kind of get to 12. Or you might never get to 12. You know what I mean? So it is very kind of, I hope that makes sense, what I've just said. So kind of aim for 12. If you can do 12 to 15 reps easy, put it up. If you can still do that easy, put it up again. Put it up until you can get to, you might only get 6 reps in your heaviest weight. You might only get 3. You might only get 2. And you'll know that that is your max at that time. And then just kind of stay working on that weight until you can do some more reps. And then if you ever got to 12 on that weight, then you can try putting it up again. You might only put it up by 2 kgs. It doesn't have to be really, really heavy weights. We need to be careful of our body, of our muscles and our joints and all that kind of stuff with really heavy weights. So just making sure, checking in with yourself that it's not hurting you and you're not like losing your form or your pelvic floor. You're not wetting yourself when you're lifting heavy weights. I find that a lot of women, that happens sometimes in squats and on leg press. that's the kind of time where they're, they might, their pelvic floor might be a bit weak and they might, pee themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
But just really, my cat is about to walk in front of the laptop. The cat's about to walk past, but yeah. So that's kind of like what I would say for your heavy weights. If you like doing heavy weights and you can do them, then by all means go for it. But just really listen to your body.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers her question. Yeah.
And I guess also if you're still having periods and you're still cycling, you'll find that some parts of in that cycle you can lift heavier than the other. And that's okay too, that we can't always have the energy or the strength continuous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, in that first half of your cycle, you're obviously, that's kind of like when we've got the get up and go. Not always, like it's not everyone's the same, but then in the later half of your cycle, you might feel a little bit, and that's when you might want to go a little bit lighter. But not everyone. Some people are fine the whole time. It's just really an individual thing. And another thing is if you're, and this is not kind of like, if you're not sleeping, like if you're not sleeping well and you're getting, you can't sleep at night and you've got insomnia or your sleeping is terrible, then sleep is the first thing that you need to nail before you worry about the exercise. Like you have to be sleeping before you go and hit like really heavy weights or do a high intensity workout or something like that. It's your sleep is your top priority that you need to get sorted before you start pushing yourself too far with the exercise, because sleep is number one.
And is that because of its effect on inflammation in the body or cortisol, or what's the reason behind?
Or all of that. Yeah. And your body just won't perform like you want it to if you haven't had any sleep. I mean, we all know what it's like to not have sleep. Yeah. So and you just can't perform as well. Yeah. And it's not good for it's not good for your cortisol, it's not good for your stress, like your stress hormones, all of that kind of stuff, the stress on the body, because exercise is as important as it is for us, and we all need to be doing it. It is a stress on the body. So if we're stressed and our body's already stressed from not sleeping, then that's just going to put more stress onto the body. So then if you're not exercising, if you're not sleeping, then you might have to look at maybe doing something. If you've had a really bad night's sleep, you might have to look at that day. You might have to look at doing something a little bit more like a walk or something like that,
Cat's butt. So I know you said about like we have to change how we used to exercise needs to change when we hit that kind of menopause transition. So what would you say is the best exercise for women going through the menopause transition?
Well, I also often see, because women are also, potentially putting on weight. I also quite often see women really overdoing it at this stage of life as well. And especially with the challenges that they put out in the gyms, which are fantastic for some people, but they if you've got that competitive streak in you, then I see a lot of women overdoing it as well. So there is, I call it like the Goldilocks effect. We want to be kind of like doing enough, but not doing too much. So, all right. So, movement is medicine, right? There's been so much research into movement and how beneficial it is. The gold standard is resistance training. So I think that everybody should be doing resistance training, especially in menopause. Okay, so that is your weight training, but it can also look like Pilates. That's not going to be as effective as your weights. Your weights is your gold standard. And just how I talked about before, we don't want to be doing, if we can, we don't want to be doing the same weights, the same exercises. Like you don't want to be sticking to those 2 kg weights. We do, in order for our muscles to grow and for our bones to get strong, we do need to be getting better, in keeping in mind your body and what you can do. So strength training is a must for women over 40. It can prevent and reverse osteoporosis. I think I've told you the story about Rowi's 80-year-old mother, Muti, who reversed her osteoporosis by strength training. She went off all her medication. Won't tell the story because it's too long, but she went off all her medication in her 80s. She had osteoporosis. She was given a whole bunch of pills from her doctor. Her daughter and her husband took her walking frame off her and said, nah, you're not having that. You're going to walk using your body. And they got her a personal trainer, and she got rid of her osteoporosis. She had slight osteopenia and off all her medication and lived a long, lovely, healthy life. So she was boxing and strength training. So you can actually reverse osteoporosis just by strength training. So strength training is amazing. We need it for our bones. We need it for our muscles. You can prevent and reverse osteoporosis. It'll help you live longer, reduces stress, and it will increase your confidence. Like a lot of women talk about toning up. Strength training is the only thing that will tone you up. Going for a walk every day, going for a run every day, that is not going to tone you up. You need to be strength training, period, because we don't want to be old ladies crippled over with broken bones, with osteoporosis with a walking frame. Like, that's what we want, to live longer, and we want to live longer without medication. So strength training is number one. Okay. And if you don't know what you're doing, then get yourself a trainer. Even if you just have like a few sessions with them, with a trainer, just to kind of, hopefully it's someone who is doing exercises safely and correctly, and not giving you silly exercises that are going to hurt you. So, and just to kind of guide you through what you should be doing. And then if you want to do it on your own, then you can just go by that rule of thumb, like I said before. Maybe if you get to over 12 reps and you can do it super easy, just pick up a heavier weight and do the same exercise and see how many reps you can do with it slightly heavier. So we do need to be kind of increasing our weights if you can. You'll get to a certain point where you feel like you probably can't lift any heavier, which is fine, which is where I've got to. But you can just add in other things. You can add in Pilates, which is also a bit of resistance training. You could, resistance, you could even be like walking up some hills. You could be swimming. You could be doing, which is all kind of like putting some resistance on the body. But ideally, we want to be kind of lifting some weights. So strength training for me is number one, because that's going to keep our muscles and bones strong. And then we also want to be doing a little bit of cardio exercise as well, because we're more at risk of cardiovascular disease as we age. And you can choose to do this any way that you like. One thing that I always say to my clients is, and to everybody, is do something that you like doing. Like, if you hate running, don't run. Like, I hate running. I hate it. I will not run. I don't like it. So do something that you enjoy doing. That could be going for hikes in the forest, up some stairs, up some hills. Get up some hills or up some stairs to get the heart rate going. If you're just going for a stroll along the beach, well, that's what I would count as just some nice relaxation, rest and recovery kind of just movement. That's just what I would call movement. That's not really huffy puffy, getting your heart, cardiovascular system going. So it could be boxing, it could be cycling, it could be hiking, it could be walking up some hills. You might like running. Just choose something that you like doing. And you could just do that like a couple of times a week. You don't have to be doing a class every single day. You don't have to be doing cardio, going and doing a cardio class every single day of the week. So just maybe pick 2 or 3 times a week where you might do something. It could be just a nice walk. Do something that you want to do, but preferably not just like a stroll along the beach. That's not actually going to challenge you and get that heart pumping, which is what we want for our cardiovascular health. And then someone asked also in your group about the HIIT, the high intensity. Yeah. So the high intensity, she asked, which she did have a very good memory about that. So we do need to do things a little bit different. If you like doing that high intensity interval training, how we used to kind of do it, how they still do it sometimes, is they might do 20 seconds, get your heart rate up as high as you can, and then you have 10 seconds rest, and then go for 20 seconds again, 10 seconds rest. It could be 30 seconds, 15 seconds rest, something around there. That can be the same, or if you find that that's not enough recovery, the way that we kind of probably need to do it as we move into menopause is get your heart rate up as high as you can, okay, as high as is comfortable for you, and then rest until you have got your breath back. So make that rest period a little bit, so just get that better recovery in. So make that rest period a little bit longer.
So when you talk about that as high as you can, that's where you're kind of out of breath and you're like,
yeah. So you like can't talk, like you feel like your heart's beating out of your chest, and you're like, really like your heart is just going for it. That's high intensity interval training, and you shouldn't be able to do that for very long. Like it shouldn't be like, if I ever do HIIT training, which I hardly ever do, but if I ever do it, like I'll do it for like 10 minutes max, and then that's it, 10, 15 minutes max, and that's it. It shouldn't be a long, otherwise, if it's a long workout, then that's not really high intensity training. That's more like just like a cardio kind of aerobic kind of class.
Short bursts with short bursts of activity, and then rest in between, and then 15 minutes would be the max for the whole thing.
Yeah. Or you can just do it during the day. You don't have to do a specific workout. So you can just, little breaks that you've got during the day, you can just like get your heart rate up as high as you can for like 10 seconds, 20 seconds max if you want to, but 10 seconds is perfect. 10 seconds as high as you can, and rest. And then do another 10 seconds and then rest. And then do another 10 seconds, like get that heart rate up as high as you possibly can. 10 seconds is not very long, and rest. Wait till your breath comes back, wait till you're recovered. You don't need to rest for like 10 seconds, just rest till you are recovered, then go again. And you might just do that 4 times at lunchtime. You might do it 4 times at breakfast time, and then another 4 times at dinner time. That's fine. That's totally fine. It doesn't have to be a planned workout. It's completely up to you if you want to. But yeah, just make that recovery time a bit longer. So instead of feeling like after 10 seconds you haven't recovered, make it longer. And when you've recovered and got your breath back and you feel like you can go again then. So just take that pressure off and make that recovery time a bit longer.
Right.
Yeah.
And the huffy puffy, so that kind of HIIT, or the huffy puffy. So you're saying probably about 2 or 3 times a week you should be doing something like that.
Well, I certainly don't. I mean, if you want to do it like twice a week, that's fine. Or like I just described, if you wanted to do like those quick 10 seconds bursts and spread it throughout your day, if you don't want to do like a specific planned workout, do 3 in the morning, 3 at lunchtime, 3 at night. You can do that every day if you want, and just do it 10 seconds, just for 10-second bursts. That's really good for your body. So you can do it however you want to do it. But if you want to do like specific workouts, by the time you kind of pepper everything else in, I'd put, maybe twice a week. And then you can maybe go for a hike or a walk another 2 times a week, and then maybe you can do your strength training, or you could do 1 weights and 1 Pilates, like another 2 times a week. Just kind of make it work for you. But the strength training is number 1. Right. And then we also do not want to forget about that cardiovascular health, because we are more at risk as we get into menopause of cardiovascular disease, and we want to look after our heart and have a healthy heart as well. Right. So that is important as well. We do need to do that, cardiovascular disease. And like I said before, do what you enjoy doing. That could be just walking up hills, I bet when you walk up your street, your heart rate goes through the roof up the top of Te Aute Ridge.
Yes, yeah. Although I have to say I've actually stopped doing it quite so much now, because I get quite a bit of hip pain, and I find that walking up the hills hurts my hips. So I've kind of
Oh,
had to kind of play around and not do quite as much as I used to do until that kind of resolves.
yeah, bugger.
I know, menopause is a pain, literally.
So what
Yeah,
do you do
because
for your cardiovascular training then?
I
Or what do you
skip.
do?
I've started skipping.
Oh, okay.
I know,
Oh,
and
that's good.
it's painful because I'm really crap at it. But I find it actually is. So I've got weighted, and I do 5 minutes every day. I'm getting better.
That's
Um,
good.
but it's it gets a lot of laughs and jokes from my kids and Ian. They think it's hilarious because I'm, as you know, I'm not the most coordinated of people. But it makes me giggle, and I play music and I do it for 5 minutes. And my plan is to eventually get to 15. So have like 5 minutes, have a rest, and then see if I can build it up. And that's
Yeah,
been really good. It doesn't hurt my hips or my knees, and it's
that's
just,
good.
I'm just really not coordinated.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You found something that works for you,
It's
right?
and it's easy. And I sometimes I do it in the morning, sometimes I do it at lunchtime if I've kind of, that's my break. So it's worked really
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. You could
Oh,
even do like do a little bit of your hit doing your skipping.
yes.
Yeah. You could
Yeah.
like go hard for like 10 seconds or something and then yeah. So it
I'm not good
depends.
enough to go hard. At the moment, I'm just
Oh,
trying not to trip over it. So once I get to the
oh
point where
okay.
I've got the rhythm going, then I will. Then
Right.
I'm not
Oh
there
yeah.
yet.
You'll do like double Dutch.
Yeah. I'm like literally lucky if I get 3 skips in without tripping over the lead. So I'm working on that.
Good. Oh, that's cool. Oh, good. That's good. So you found something that works for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, just Pilates is also good, as well. So that gives you a little bit of resistance as well. So you could just do one, kind of like heavier strength if you wanted and one Pilates, or ideally two strength would be great.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah.
And then
So
there was another question that says, what are the relevant heavy lifting exercises? And I'm not entirely sure what that means.
say that again.
What are the relevant heavy lifting exercise? Maybe that's like what kind of
What
exercise,
kind of exercises?
yeah, would that
Yeah.
entail?
Okay. So I only give oh yeah, I was about to say safe and effective, but I hate those two words now. But it's true. I do. So I believe that you should be the safest and most effective exercises are compound exercises. So compound exercises work multiple muscles in the one movement. So say we'll talk about a squat, for example. So a squat, we're use your abdominals every time you're standing up doing an exercise. If you're holding your abdominals keep you in the upright position. So people think that we need to be lying on the floor doing crunches to work your abs, which is not the case. So you're working your abs when you do a squat, you're working your glutes, your butt, you're working your quads, and you're working your hamstrings. So we've got three big muscles that we're working in that one movement. So you don't need to be sitting in the gym on one of those, what are they called? Leg extensions.
Yeah.
The things where you put the weight
Oh,
across
yeah.
your
Yeah.
shins and
Yeah.
your leg goes up and I can't even demonstrate
No,
it,
they hurt my knees.
Yeah. They're really bad for your knees. So those kind of knees, they're great for people who need rehab after surgery, but that's about it. So they just put those isolated exercises, just put shearing forces across your joints. So that'll be why your knees are getting sore. So you're better off with your compound exercises. So that's things like squats, lunges if you can, deadlifts if you can, leg press. Okay. And then for your arms, so that works every single muscle in your lower body. So those exercises will work every single muscle in your lower body. They'll work your glutes, they'll work your hammies, they'll work your quads, they'll work your hips, your abs, everything. Okay. So the other exercises that I would choose for upper body would be seated rows, dumbbell rows, and lat pull down. So they will work your main muscles that it's working is your back but then your assisting muscles and chin-ups, if you can do chin-ups. But you can do chin-ups, you can do assisted chin-ups with your knees on that bench at the gym. You can do, if you're in a gym that doesn't have that machine, you could do them with the bands. So my clients here do them with the bands, that you put your foot in the bands. Chin-ups are fantastic. So you think about when you're doing if you're doing a bicep curl. So how heavy can you lift that weight? How heavy can you lift doing a bicep curl? Probably not very heavy, right? And the only muscle you're working is your biceps. That's it. So then you still have to work your back, your triceps, your chest, everything else. So if you do a chin up or a lat pull down where your hands are facing forward and you're pulling your whole body up, or if you're doing a lat pull down and you're pulling down, you're working your biceps as you're pulling yourself up, you're working your shoulders and you're working your back. So that's 3 muscles that you're working in that one movement. And you think about the weight that you're having to pull up using your biceps doing a chin-ups versus doing a bicep curl using one weight and only working your bicep. So that will be light, ineffective. That will be heavy and much more effective because you're using more muscles and doing heavier. You'll be lifting heavy, pulling down that weight for a lat pull down or a seated row or a dumbbell row. So they all work the same kind of muscles, your shoulders, your bicep, your back. And then if you do things like for your chest, you want to be doing like bench press, you can use a bar. You want to be doing bench press, or you can use your dumbbell bench press, press ups. Press ups are really good, push ups, and that will work your chest, your shoulders, and then as you straighten your arms, it also works your triceps. So that's once again 3 muscles and 1 movement. So you don't need to be going to the gym doing chest day and back day, leg day, biceps, tricep day. Like, what a waste of time. Do the whole lot in one go, so you could do squats, lunges, bench press, and some lat pull down, and you've done everything. So compound exercises are my favorite because those are the only exercises I'll give my clients. I'll give my clients tricep dips. And sometimes we'll use the rope and push it, and for the triceps, more target into the triceps, because that's that lovely wobbly bit at the back of your arm. But so compound exercises all the way. They're the most effective. You get much more bang for your buck. You can get a workout in 30 minutes if you don't scroll on your phone. Scroll and get it done, and then maybe you'll do like 12 reps, see how you feel. Was that really easy? Yes. Put more weight on. Maybe next time you might just do 10 reps. Is that too easy still? Yep. Put some more weight on. Maybe next time you'll do 6 to 8 reps, and then move on to the next exercise.
Are there any exercises that are specifically good for the dreaded menopause?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, it comes down to abs are made in the kitchen, right? Which I think. It's a lot has got to do with your food. You can exercise. I have done this before. I even did this in my teens, where I was going to the gym all the time. At that point, I was doing aerobics classes and pump classes and all those types of classes. But I was going to the gym every day and exercising for an hour, sometimes 2 hours every single day. But I was eating rubbish. I was eating a lot of takeaways, a lot of junk, and I put on 5 kgs, even though I was exercising every day. And it was the food. So it doesn't matter how much you exercise, if your food is rubbish, it's not going to, you won't lose weight. So, but as far as the abs, like I said before, with all your strength training, so when you're doing your chin-ups and when you're doing your press-ups and when you're doing your squats and your lunges and all that kind of stuff, you need to be holding your core on nice and tight to stop yourself from hunching over. So your abs are working really well, holding everything in that upright position. You can do planks. So I have spoken to my osteopath about this, about specific abdominal exercises. And because where I trained, we were taught to not do any abdominal exercises. I do specific crunches and abdominal exercises in Pilates class, but I never give them in like a personal training session, but we do them in Pilates. But more often than not, I will use a ball, a Pilates ball that we will put behind our back, which helps support your spine. Because some women, it puts pressure on their spine, lying on your back and doing crunches. And a lot of people also do them wrong. Like they'll really like pull on their head and their neck, and they won't kind of engage their abs. So in Pilates, I teach the woman how to engage their pelvic floor. We engage the abdominals and turn the pelvic floor on and turn the abs on before we start doing any abdominal exercises. So yes, you can do, specific abdominal exercises, but you kind of want to be doing, you can't just lie on the floor and burn fat off your abs. You need to be burning fat. We need to be working like the whole body, the body as a whole, and doing everything, locking those abdominals in when we're standing up, doing our compound exercises. When we're doing our push-ups, we want to have our abs on nice and tight. All of that is helping. And then you can do your specific abdominal exercises, but you can't just burn fat off your abs. We can't burn fat off anywhere. We can't do this and think that we're going to burn fat off our finger. Like it just doesn't work. You burn fat off your whole body, and that's what we want to be doing. We want to be working the whole body, not just the abdominals. So yeah, I totally get that meno belly, but yeah, just like I just said, just do the best that you can, stick to your compound movements, concentrate on working on your pelvic floor. And if you're going to do some abdominal crunches, maybe do them on a Swiss ball. Have you got a Swiss ball to support your back, or get a Pilates ball? Like you can buy them online, and they're just nice, round, soft, rubber, squishy balls. And if you support your back with a ball, it will just take that pressure off your spine, so you're not going to like hurt your back at all. But you can do them if you want to. I mean, I do them in Pilates, like 3 times a week or something. So I do them, but it's not, what I'm just trying to say is it's not going to burn the fat off your abs if you just lie there and do 100 crunches a day. Yeah.
Magic bullet. So the last question was about weighted vests, which I'm really keen to hear your view about weighted vests.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's something that I've been reading up on it, and I was thinking about getting a weighted vest and seeing what I thought about them. So what's your view on them?
To be honest, I have never used them. I've never used them. I've never used them. I've never used them with a client. My cat is trying to get in front of this screen. He's dying to get in front. I'm trying to keep him to the side. I have never used one. I tend to see men mainly and women using them. They quite often use them for like chin-ups and stuff like that. They'll put a weighted vest on and use them for like chin-ups. So, don't you love live calls with animals?
Love animals.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've actually never used one. I don't really know kind of like a hell of a lot about them. I guess it's like, what is your goal with them? Like, what are you trying to do? Why do you want a weighted vest over using weights?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do with the weighted vest? Like, why are you interested in them? What are you wanting to do with it?
So from what I've read, it's just about it's the resistance training. So the idea is that you're meant to wear them throughout your day just to give a little bit of extra resistance. So it's good for when you're going shopping or when you're moving around the house. So not necessarily for when you're doing exercise. Some of the research has been really good, particularly for postmenopausal women, in regards to that resistance actually increases bone density and muscle mass. But my concern is about the joint pain, because I've also seen people saying that when they wear them too long, that it actually makes their joint pain worse. So I was going to have a play and see because I spend an awful lot of time sat on my butt, trying to see if there were certain times of the day when I could wear it to see if that helps. but not necessarily when I'm sat at the computer, more about if I go for a walk or take the dogs for a walk just to see or go shopping, if that makes any difference. But the research is looking good in regards to the bone density, but I'm also very conscious about if you've got joint pain, it might not be the best and it can actually probably hurt your back. So it's like you say, like trying it, seeing what works, and then playing around with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather you did a strength training session. I'd rather people did an actual weights session than rely on a weighted vest. It depends what your goal is and what you're doing it for. But by all means, I'm sure it's not going to, like, if it doesn't hurt you and you feel like it's helping, it's adding extra weight, so it's obvious weight to you, so it's obviously going to put more pressure on your bones and your muscles because you're carrying extra weight. So I actually don't see, like, even going for a walk with it. Yeah, totally. But I would rather you did like a proper strength training session. But if you wanted to add that, if you're quite strong and you want to add that into your session, it's not going to hurt. But if it does hurt, you'll know and you can remove it.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt if you want to add, if you feel like you want to, say for example, you're at home and you've only got a certain amount of weights for your dumbbells. So say your dumbbells only go up to 8 kgs, for example, and you want some more weights to add some more resistance, but you've got no more weights, then that could come in quite beneficial. You put the weighted vest on, add on a little bit more weight, and there you go, you've got some more weights, some more weight on you, rather than going out and buying a whole bunch more dumbbells.
Yeah.
So, that could be beneficial. I could see that. And like you said, if you want to wear it going for a walk, then by all means go. You might look a bit odd walking down the beach with a weighted vest on. But
I would fit in Bethel's. There's a lot of old people in Bethel's.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've only really seen people do it. They want to make their chin-ups a little bit harder. I think it is great for if you are feeling like I need to make this a little bit harder. Or if you haven't got a barbell, for example, so if you haven't got a barbell to put on your back and load up and do a back squat with a barbell, and you've only got dumbbells. And I also find with women sometimes with dumbbells, if the dumbbells you need to put the weight up, but if you only got dumbbells, they're quite the challenge is holding onto them with your hands, so holding the dumbbells. You're like, my legs can do it, but I can't hold onto this weight.
Yeah, which I guess would help if you've got any kind of joint pain in your hands. Then that would be a way of getting the weight if you can't then hold on to
yeah, exactly. So then that's where a weighted vest could come in to be quite handy, to put a weighted vest on. If you haven't got a barbell but you can't hold the weights any heavier, then you put a weighted vest on, and that's going to it's going to give you more resistance. It's going to give you more of a challenge for sure. But I haven't personally used them myself, and I've mainly only seen people use them for that kind of thing in the gym, like when they're doing chin-ups or that kind of thing. Some of them even the real guys at men and women I've seen when they do the chin-ups and they put those weighted belts around their waist, and I'm just like, whoa. So you could use it for I haven't read that research. I'd quite like to see that research. So yeah, but as I said, I haven't actually worked with them, but I can see how it could come into play and be beneficial. It's not going to hurt you, and if it does, just don't wear it. If it does hurt you, I wonder how much pressure it would be down on your shoulders. But you just have to have a play and see. Yeah.
No, I think that's all the questions in the group. And are you happy if anyone else watches this and they've got another question, they could put it in the group, and then I know you're in the group, you could have a look and maybe answer it as well.
Yeah. Someone did ask something about joint.
Yeah, they just said, how do I know if it's joint pain, if it's a niggle or it's menopause?
Or exercise, yeah. Well, I've read that, from what I know, from what I've read and what I've seen, it seems to be that if it's joint pain from menopause, it tends to be worse in the morning, and like you can wake up with, you wake up with it, like wake up with the stiff joints. So it appears to be worse in the morning, and then maybe it improves with activity. So maybe it gets better during the day, or with activity it improves. So maybe that's one way that you could tell if it's like menopause, or it could be a multitude of things though, because with the hormonal shifts in menopause, it can lead to joint pain and stiffness, but it's not the only thing. So it could be osteoporosis, it could be osteoarthritis, it could be rheumatoid arthritis, it could be a multitude of different things. So I guess it's monitoring how you feel when you wake up in the morning. Like, is it there when you wake up in the morning? Does it improve with activity? Exercising regularly is really important. If you do have osteoporosis, if you do have arthritis, you just have to maybe like change the way you exercise. Really listen to your body. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Do what feels right for you. So exercising regularly, like don't stop, like just don't stop and seize up. Eating anti-inflammatory foods is really good for joint health, isn't it?
And I'm talking about that. I'm doing that. Doing a whole talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah. Maintaining a healthy body weight. Maybe acupuncture. Supplements. I guess you would be the one to kind of talk about all that kind of thing. And then I think if it gets really bad, then go and see a health practitioner. Go see a doctor or someone like yourself, or go find some help. But just maybe start by monitoring if it is worse in the morning when you wake up, and does it improve with activity, and just kind of see how your body feels. Try and keep a note and keep a diary of what does it feel like in the morning when I wake up. Does it improve with activity? And then you can kind of go from there, and you might be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together and make sure that it's not anything else, like some type of arthritis or osteoporosis or something like that, just to make sure it is. Because this is just the thing, with menopause, like we don't know. We're like, is this menopause? Is this, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. It's but that's good that you're going to be talking about that.
It's a big question. It's a big deal, and it's a pain in the joints, literally. So if people want to find you, how can they find you? If they want to know more, if they want to work with you?
Well, I don't know if you want to put my email we've put my email and the link in the notes or the comments or wherever you put it. But on Facebook and on Facebook, I've rebranded and changed my name. So now I'm called BeyondFit.
Awesome.
So that's BeyondFit, and can't remember what it is on Instagram, but just I'll put my email and phone number in the notes. And then if you want to contact me, I also can train people online as well. So we can do it video online as well. So you don't have to come to the studio. And if you've got some weights and stuff at home, that's all good. And if you're just starting out, you just start out with body weight, and then just try and use that scale from 1 to 10. Like 1, this is so easy, I could go all day, and 10, that was actually quite hard. And just kind of give it a range and see how you feel. And if you're using body weight, for example, and you're like, this is so easy, you might, if you've got body weight and you've got no weights to challenge you, make it harder, then you might just want to do more reps, for example, if you've got no weights to use. So if you're starting out, just start with body weight and then just see how you feel.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Right.
I hope that everyone's got some little gems from what you've shared, and hopefully everyone will start getting out there and changing what they do, maybe, if they've realised that it's just not working with them anymore. So thank you very much, and I will stop there.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.